Today's date. Hello and welcome. It is April 19th, 2020. And yes, we're still alone together in the Alone Together meditation series. And today was one of my more difficult days, not because I was in the training that I was in, but between the training, I was coming up against various challenges that people were having around the COVID virus. And I know many of you have been challenged beyond what you're used to. And I wanted to share something that I found. I wonder if I can find this again. It was, you might have seen it going around on Facebook about we're not all in the same boat. Have you seen this or heard this? I'm going to read it aloud because I find it to be really apropos at this time. And no one knows who wrote it, or maybe someone does, but it's not indicated here. So this is, I guess, a poem or some sort of quote that says, "We are not in the same boat. I heard that we are all in the same boat, but it's not like that. We're in the same storm, but not in the same boat. Your ship could be shipwrecked and mine might not be, or vice versa. For some, quarantine is optimal, a moment of reflection, of reconnection, easy and flip-flops with a cocktail or coffee. For others, it's a desperate financial and family crisis. For some that live alone, they're facing endless loneliness, while for others, it is peace and rest time with their mother, father, sons, daughters, or partner. With the $600 weekly increase in unemployment, some are bringing in more money to their households than they were while they were working. Others are working more hours for less money due to pay cuts and loss in sales. Some families of four just received a $3,400 check from the stimulus, while other families of four saw nothing. Some were concerned about getting a certain candy for Easter, while others were concerned if there would be enough bread, milk, and eggs for the weekend. Some want to go back to work because they don't qualify for unemployment and are running out of money. Others want to kill those who break the quarantine. Some are home spending 2 to 3 hours each day helping their child with online schooling, while others are spending 2 to 3 hours each day to educate their children on top of a 10 to 12-hour workday. Some have experienced the near death of the virus, and others have already lost someone from it. Some are not sure if their loved ones are going to make it, and others don't believe it's such a big deal. Some have faith in God and expect miracles. Others say it's the worst is yet to come. So friends, while we're not in the same boat, we are going through a time when our perceptions and needs are completely different. Each one of us will emerge in our own way from this storm. It's very important to see beyond what is seen at first glance, not just looking, but actually seeing. We're all on different ships during this storm, experiencing a very different journey. So for me, that really sums it up. And I know it sums it up for many of us. And what I'm noticing a lot is that, there's a lot of fear, obviously, around mortality, but there's also fear of a lot of other things, the government, of losing your job, of getting some money, of being able to feed your family. There's so much fear. And people are moving back and forth from factual information to opinions and defending their opinions and imposing them on others. And I'm really acutely aware of it because I'm seeing it I just posted something that I believe on my Facebook page, and it started stirring up a lot of challenging conversations. And I found myself having pressure on my chest and feeling like, why are we treating each other this way? Even though we have a difference of opinion, why get personal? Why start to threaten each other? Why start to call each other names? We wouldn't act this way if we were in the room together. Anyway, it's making me a little teary, but I just want everybody to be nice to each other and nice to themselves. I know you can do it. I know we can. I mean, the Dalai Lama, I put him on my quote. He said on my Facebook page as a quote, and it says, practice kindness. It's always possible. It's always possible. Now, during our last training, which we just finished about 10 minutes ago, we were talking about creating that pause between stimulus and response, creating the pause between blowing up and sending a nasty email or some sort of threat or calling someone a name and saying, is this how I want to treat this person? This is a person just like me. Anyway, let's all take that pause. I'm still a little teary, so I'm going to just talk about meditation now. I'll move into my left brain and start getting more rational instead of right brain emotional. And I want to share with you, what the 5 essentials to meditation, because one of them is to be kind to yourself. And how we treat other people, you've probably heard this, is how we treat ourselves. If we can't muster up enough kindness toward ourselves, and for me, since I'm crying, I should be self-compassionate and understand that, I too have deep feelings that I have to acknowledge and appreciate my humanity. And if I can do that for myself, I can do it for you. So practicing being kind to yourself, even in the midst of a challenging moment, and even especially in meditation, is essential for creating those new neural pathways. So that's one of the important essentials to meditation. The next one is not to try too hard to have a certain experience. A lot of us want a certain experience in meditation. You come back day in and day out for a little peace, and some days you get more worked up maybe, or maybe a little more emotional like I am. So, whatever shows up is perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. And not to try to have any particular experience other than the one you're having. Number 3, let go of expectations. We all have expectations about how meditation should feel and how we should stop thinking about thinking. And it's really impossible. I wanted to, actually, I don't know if I can share it. I was going to share a quote by Stephen Jobs. I don't know if I can. Here it is. As I said, if you just sit down and observe, you will see how restless your mind is. If you try to calm it, it only makes it worse. But over time, it does calm. And when it does, there's room to hear more subtle things. That's when your intuition starts to blossom and you start to see things more clearly and be present more. Your mind just slows down and you see a tremendous expanse in the moment. You see so much more than you could see before. So it's just, he says, if you just sit and observe, you will see how restless your mind is. And that's what happens when we sit down to start meditating, is we start and we notice we're having thoughts. I'm having thoughts about the conversations. I'm having thoughts about our training. I'm having thoughts about my husband making pizza in the other room. But I get to see that, and then I start to do the practice. And then the practice is what settles down the mind, not me trying to do it. So we're simply going to observe and be kind, not try too hard, and let go of expectations. Alrighty, so we're going to start with some mindfulness, and mindfulness simply means being present, right here, right now, engaged with what you're doing, with an observer attitude, actually, ideally looking through the eyes of kindness, ideally looking through the eyes of loving kindness at whatever it is that is in your view, whatever it is you hear, whatever it is you feel, whatever it is you smell and taste. The senses are a doorway to this moment, that sensory perception. I don't know who it was who said, the doorway to infinity is, the path to infinity is through the doorway of perception, and the subtleties of perception. And so that's what we're going to do, is start perceiving as we draw our attention inward. We're going to meditate for about 15 minutes, maybe a little 18 minutes. I tend to go over. So if you need to leave it for on the half hour, you can, obviously. So let's begin by becoming mindful of how you're sitting right now. Can you get a little more comfortable? Can you become more comfortable in this moment? So shift your posture to find that comfort, to find that support. I've been sitting here for hours, so I'm going to just readjust a few things. And I invite you to do the same. Feeling the support underneath your feet and under your rear and against your back. And before you close your eyes, just look around the space that you're in. And notice what's around you that you're grateful for. Maybe identifying 5 things that you're grateful for. I can identify more and more. We could do this all day, but let's move into meditation, shall we, by closing the eyes, or if you prefer, you can go ahead and cap them, gazing down towards the floor, your hands, a soft gaze. And with your eyes closed and your body supported, you can be sure your arms are relaxed. Let's begin by giving ourselves some deeper breaths. Ideally, in and out through the nose if you can. Slowly and deeply on the inhale, and slowly and fully on the exhale at your own pace. Feeling that chest rise and the belly expand on the inhale, and how the chest falls and the navel comes right back to the spine on the exhale. Three long, slow, deep breaths at your own pace. Send a signal to your body to move into the rest and restore response. And then let your breath return to its natural rhythm and depth. Becoming mindful of the breath, letting it be at its own pace without you imposing anything on it. And as you're comfortable with your breath, begin now to become aware of the sounds in your environment, observing sounds, noticing sounds that are near and far. Noticing sounds, how they're ever present in some cases, while others are intermittent, like the sound of my voice. And tune into the sound of the sounds, rather than identifying the source of the sounds. Noticing how sounds arise from the stillness and return to the stillness. And now let's begin to tune into sensations. But first, check in on your emotions, or what you sense in your emotional body. What emotions are here now? And are they strong, or is there just a residue? Notice where in your body you might feel those emotions. And letting your attention rest there. Let's begin also to scan the entire body, again with the eyes of love, imagining that your attention is like a beam of love that feels the body from the inside, that notices the sensations on the outside, that welcomes everything without judgment or preferences. As you begin to notice and soften your face, your eyes, your lips, your tongue. And just as we observe the sounds coming and going, notice sensations coming and going. Some stay, some go. As you bring your attention to your throat, your neck, noticing your shoulders, letting them soften. Noticing your arms hanging comfortably in your lap. There's no need to brace yourself. Softening into the safety of this moment. Bringing your attention to your back. Noticing the sensations. Perhaps you feel your spine as it reaches from your tailbone to the base of your skull. Perhaps you feel the subtle movements as your ribs move with the breath. And bringing your attention to the front of your body. Noticing the chest rising and falling. Noticing the belly move. Letting the weight of your body be supported underneath you by the chair or the cushion. Letting go of any tension in your hips and your pelvis, your groin. Notice the tops of your thighs where your hands are being supported. The backs of your thighs, supporting some of your weight. Become curious as to the sensations in your lower legs, your calves, your shins, the muscles, the bones, your ankles, your feet. Widening the aperture of your attention, begin to experience your entire body at once if it's possible. Notice where you begin and end. Notice the stillness that's right here. Notice the movement of being alive. Perhaps you notice a faint pulse in your fingertips or your heartbeat. Perhaps you notice the breath. Take a moment now to appreciate your life. You're living and breathing and loving. And bringing your attention to the gentle rise and fall of your chest. You can imagine, if you like, that right behind your breastbone, in the middle of your chest, your heart center, there's a bright, warm light. You can see, feel, or imagine it, the star that shines from the seat of your awareness, from the seat of your soul. And perhaps it's not right behind your breastbone, so find it where it is for you. And imagine that the breath is moving in and out from this center point of view. And as you breathe in, the star gets brighter. And as you breathe out, you can feel it and sense it radiating around you. And we're going to practice the soul awakening prayer. So as you breathe in and out, you can either put your hand on your chest if that feels comfortable, or simply say these phrases silently to yourself. The first one is soul awakening, soul awakening. Heart opening, heart opening. Light shining, light shining. Love flowing, love flowing. Wounds dissolving, wounds dissolving. Peace radiating, peace radiating. And now we're going to offer these same phrases of compassion and healing to the people that you are with, people in your immediate environment, or those of us who are with you on this call, and include your pets if you like. If your hand's on your heart, you can keep it there or let it rest in your lap. Soul awakening. Heart opening. Light shining. Love flowing. wounds dissolving, peace radiating. And now we'll begin to offer this prayer to all of your connections, your family, your friends, people you spent time with today on the phone or sending an email or on Zoom, people you care about, people you know need some support, offering them the blessings of soul awakening, heart opening, light shining, love flowing, wounds dissolving, peace radiating. And for all the planet and all beings on this planet at this time, we're going to offer them the same prayer for awakening. Soul awakening. Heart opening. Light shining. Love flowing. Wounds dissolving. Peace radiating. Let's sit in the stillness together for a couple of more minutes and I'll keep track of the time. So as I sound the chimes, I invite you to keep your eyes closed. It's always important to come out of meditation slowly. So you can continue to sit in the stillness if you like. Notice how you're feeling. Coming out of meditation just as slowly as you went into it, being mindful. As you begin to notice your body and your breath. Notice the space around you as you deepen your breath if you like. You can even move into the space around you, wiggling your fingers, your toes, and keeping your eyes closed as long as you want to. It's really nice not to go faster than you want to go in general. We practice it here in the meditation, tuning in to figure out what's my speed. When you are ready to open your eyes, you can do so first with a downward gaze. When you're ready to open your eyes all the way, I invite you to do that. There's no rush. I like to close my meditation by bringing my hands together in the prayer mudra, Anjali mudra, thumbs touching the breastbone. I invite you to do it if it feels comfortable for you. And honoring the love that lives through you as you, whether you know it or not. It's the same love that lives through me, and everyone else as them, whether they know it or not. We know that this love is calling us forth to live our best lives. And I pray that each one of us wakes up to it. Namaste. Namaste. So that prayer is called the Soul Awakening Prayer by James O'Day. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a mystic, lives in Colorado. And he got together with a bunch of people. He used to be the president, I think, or director of the Institute of Noetic Sciences. And some of you remember me talking about Edgar Mitchell. Edgar Mitchell was the astronaut who went up into space. I think he was one of the first people to walk on the moon. And he walked up in space and walked on the moon and came back and saw this beautiful blue planet. And he recognized that, you know, we think that we're so important, but there's this living, breathing planet of which we are part and parcel. We're all in that same boat. We're all on the same ride, this planet. And the beauty and magnificence, he had a spiritual awakening on that spacecraft. And he came back to open the Institute of Noetic Sciences, really exploring what else there is. What is that consciousness that lives through me as me and lives through you as you, and made it his journey to wake up to it. I got a chance to meet him in person when he was at a meditation center I lived in, and with his wife, and that was his main goal, is to wake up to the love that lives through us, each one of us. And you know, there are all kinds of names for it. It's your true nature, it's your essence, it's your divine spark, it's your spirit, it's God, it's your true nature, whatever you think it is. But it's pure consciousness, some people would say, that lives through you as you and is individuated in every life form, like a wave in the ocean. Every wave has a different, it's like a snowflake, right? It's unique. It has a different time and place and different characteristics, and it exists for a certain period of time. It arises from the same place, and then it returns to the same place. So we're all this expression of the ocean of consciousness in the individuated waves with different desires, different hopes and dreams, different memories. We take different actions, and then we all return back to that ocean of love. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for listening to me. And it did come to me in the middle of meditation. I think the Dalai Lama said, besides my religion is kindness, he said, be kind whenever possible. And it's always possible. So that was his quote, I believe. It just came to me in meditation. And, you know, I know some of us are really reactionary with stress. It's a lot right now. It's so much right now with the endless rules and regulations and restrictions. And it is such a complete upheaval to most of us. And for some of us, we respond by getting really angry. Others respond by getting really sad. Others respond by getting really anxious. Others respond by checking out completely. So I think it's calling on each one of us to hold kind of a space for others. And as the four agreements would say, don't take anything personally. Always do your best. Don't make any assumptions about what other people are going through. And speak your truth sweetly. Don't make your speech be violent, you know. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents. Thanks for listening. I want to see how you're doing. If anyone would like to share, say hello. You can unmute yourself.
My wife and I felt we felt cabin fever, so we went ahead and drove all the way down to St. George, Utah.
Beautiful.
since this morning, and just barely got here just in time for the meditation.
That's such a beautiful place, so spacious. I used to teach at the Red Mountain Spa in Ivins.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful there. Well, it's good to get out. Nature is the big cure. Nature is the cure, filling your moments with something nourishing. And news isn't always the answer.
They actually have said that getting sunshine is a way to prevent the coronavirus. At least I've heard it said that.
I believe that.
I believe it too.
Yeah, and even if it's not true, the placebo effect works wonders. And also vitamin D. I take extra vitamin D these days. D and A, zinc, C, you name it. Elderberry. And I've already had the virus. Would anyone else like to share? Thanks, Thurl. It's good to see you in your beautiful world. See, that's sort of the view that Edgar Mitchell saw, right? Said, man, what a beautiful blue planet. Our home. Anyone else care to share?
That quote from Steve Jobs I really would love to get that somewhere. If it's, is it on your site anywhere? Or?
Yeah. Hold on a second. I will put, it's not on my site, but it's going to be in this chat. And I think someone said, if you see those, if you're on the chat, there's 3 little dots, and those 3 dots let you copy the chat. So there it is. It was in an article. Thank you, Vardini, for pointing it out. It's an article on Inc. magazine by a man named Jeffrey James, 2 first names. So there you go. It's in there.
Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else care to share? I know some of you liked that poem I read from the Facebook page. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat as well. So you can have that. How was that experience for you? How are you doing?
Windy here, so I'm not sure about being unmuted with the wind.
It's okay, Rena.
So I felt very touched by your tears, the emotional body, and I appreciated your naming that we're not all in the same boat, that everybody is really having the whole range of the roller coaster emotional body and experiences. That felt so healing to say that. And I always love the compassion for yourself first, and then extending it to others, and then to the world and the earth. And so I really, I'm grateful to you, and your voice felt particularly soothing to me today. I was listening to your voice.
Thank you. I'm grateful for my voice.
You.
I think
Yeah.
Thanks, Rena.
Yeah.
Some of you know I had surgery in my throat for cancer, and they said, well, you might lose your vocal cords.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I woke up singing.
Wow.
Just to be sure.
Yeah, that's remarkable. What powerful healing.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thanks for
Thank
being
you.
here.
Yeah. You would never know listening to you, so what a blessing. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sarah?
Yes. Hey.
Hi. I just wanted to thank you so much. I look forward to this every day. It's so nice to be back with the group again. I had difficulty with the 4:00 session yesterday getting into the Zoom and ended up calling in, but you weren't able to hear me when I was trying to talk, so it's great to be back. Anyway, every part of this session was just phenomenal, and one of the things that I'm noticing is that I'm better able to accept pretty much everything that's going on, and I feel more grounded, and I've had some issues with judging others that I felt were not as kind as I thought they should be. And so this is helping to eliminate the judgment and offering up forgiveness. Anyway, the entire experience every day is just, I cannot begin to express my gratitude. So I love
Thank you,
being a
Sarah.
part of this. I love being a part of this community. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for
My
sharing
pleasure.
that. Yeah.